Hey, it's Alex Radcliffe from BoardGameCo, and today we are talking about Lizard Wizard by Forbidden Games. Lizard Wizard is the spiritual successor, the gamified version, or something of Raccoon Tycoon. Raccoon Tycoon is one of Forbidden Games' more well-known titles. They had an expansion that's just about hitting now, and Lizard Wizard takes that game. It's the second game in the hit Raccoon Tycoon series, plays similarly with deeper, more strategic gameplay, dragon wizards, magic, and spells. Now, I will note off the bat, I have played Lizard Wizard twice now, once online, once in person, and I am not doing a review in this video. I'll touch upon my opinion, but I will be doing a full follow-up review sometime before the campaign ends, maybe later in the week, maybe early next week, but either later in the week, early next week, I'll be doing a full review of Lizard Wizard, overview of how to play, and my thoughts on the game. And the reason I'm pushing that off is primarily because I want to see if I can get a third game in, because I like it, but I'm still on the fence about certain small things. Now, overall, I like it, and to be clear, overall, I plan on getting this game one way or the other. As far as what I'm doing in this Kickstarter, let's talk about the campaign. So, Lizard Wizard, this is a game where ultimately on your turn you have a single action, and that action will be from a variety of different things. Let me see if I can find the board here. There's a variety of different options you can take. You can recruit wizards, you can recruit familiars, you can buy spells and then cast them now or later. You can play reagents, which are these materials you see over here. You'll be able to acquire those reagents while also affecting the stock market of the game, which is indicated on these tracks up here. And then throughout the game, throughout these actions you take, you can also sell any of your reagents in order to get more mana, which is the main in-game currency. There's coins, which is primarily an end-game point system, a little bit in-game, but primarily end-game points. And then there are currencies. The currency is mana, which is the main thing you're going to be spending throughout the game. Throughout these actions, and there's also going to be getting a tower, getting a wizard, casting spells, recruit familiar, and or enter the dungeon are the main actions you're taking. A total of 6 different actions, and then it gets more complicated because when you buy a familiar, you can actually take one of a few different actions on the familiar as well. All these things ultimately tie together to be a combination of auction mechanism, stock market mechanisms, set collection, entering the dungeon involves a degree of pushing your luck. There are a lot of different elements that come together in a game pretty cohesively. Honestly, pretty cohesively, and I'm really getting into the review part, and we should save that for later. So we'll save the review part later, but this game has a lot of actions you can take, a lot of different things you can do with the game, and then ultimately it's a question of how are you going to maneuver those different facets of the game to try to win the game. Now, there's a lot going on here, but the biggest question, as usual, is should you back it? Should you not? And for that, let's start with the pledge levels. With the pledge levels, we start with the $1 pledge, which is basically it's access to the pledge manager. We have the $49 pledge, which is the main, it's not retail, it's the limited premium edition of the game with all unlocked stretch goals. We'll talk about retail shortly. And then from there, we have the Archmage, which is premium plus, and we'll go through all that because that covers the add-ons. So what do you get in this game? You get everything you see here. To begin with, you get all these cards, you get the game assets, components, called components, guys, but the game comes through with all these, with the cards, the boards, these reagents over here, the mana coins, the gold coins, the reagent cards, the 51 spell cards, which is really the fun and the variability of the game. I imagine the game would be pretty stale if not for these spell cards, which mix up and change how the game is played every single time you play it. Then there's the monster cards, which is how you jump into the dungeon, 10 treasure cards, and 21 gold cards, all resulting in a dungeon with 51 cards, 31 of which are positive, but those will slowly deplete as you go through the dungeon. Every time you get something good, it comes out of the dungeon, versus the monsters stay in that dungeon. And it's really a push your luck ink and gold style of, collect more cards and then see when you want to stop and keep everything versus keep going. As far as what else you got here, so we got let's go to the add-ons, because the add-ons are very relevant for what we're going to talk about shortly, which is we have the pledge levels, the $49 Lizard Wizard, the $89 Archmage, and then the $125 Merchant Retailer Pledge. The add-ons are $25 for metal coins and metal mana. Okay, that's all the metal currency in the game is going to be metalified through a $25 upgrade. For $25 more, you can get the printed wood reagent tokens, which are Kickstarter exclusive. So they have these tokens over here. They're printed on wood, and they deluxify your game. Classic deluxification, 210 of them, which is not bad for $25, but 210 of them seems like a pretty good deal. And the metal coins, by the way, $25 for 110 metal coins is tentatively a good deal depending on the quality of the coins. Metal coins are very often in the $25 to $30 range, but more commonly, they have far fewer metal coins than 110. So keep that in mind in terms of this is either a really good deal if they are good quality metal coins, or if they're bad quality metal coins, then, well, that's a whole different conversation. Then for $25, you get your Neophene player mats, which can be very relevant, although possibly limiting. Okay, and the reason for that is, personally, I found that in both games of Lizard Wizard I played, all the players had different ways they configured and combined and set up their cards. They all had different ways of handling that. And just intuitively, no rule set, they just automatically just set their cards and splayed their cards in different combinations. Do you classify by the type of card in terms of one of the 7 different schools of Magic, or do you classify by your towers altogether and your wizards altogether? Everyone had a different way of doing things, and to a certain extent, this player mat might limit that. And I don't know how I feel about that particular add-on. But here's the good news, and that's because altogether, these add-ons would be $75, but upgrading from the Lizard Wizard to the Archmage pledge is $40 more and gives you all 3 of those add-ons, which basically means that if you're interested in 2 of these add-ons, straight up upgrade to the Archmage. If you're interested in one of these add-ons and on the fence about the other, probably upgrade to the Archmage because, it's giving you all that stuff. And if you're interested in literally just one of these add-ons, then I don't know what to tell you. I guess just get that one add-on, because spending an extra $15 for something you don't want is a different conversation unless you're trying to just resell it or take into account the resale value. Which actually, I should say that, because it's all about value, if you are going to upgrade, if you want a single one of these add-ons and you are watching my videos because you're focusing on the value question, what if I don't like it, what if I want to sell it, then I would still recommend going to the Archmage, because for $15 extra, you're going to have a lot more resale value packed into that box. In terms of that's in terms of the Archmage. So that's the Archmage, that's what the Archmage gives you. Shipping costs, let's cover shipping costs. Shipping cost is basically $10 to the US, and they have a shipping chart in terms of paying more. Let's find that shipping chart. Shipping over here, $10 to the US, $16 to the EU, $16 to the UK with Brexit, subject to Brexit and all that. So if you look through the various shipping options, they'll cover you over here. But for a US backer, you're looking at $99 to get this game. $99 to get everything entirely. If you just want the basic premium edition, then you'll be getting $49 plus $10 shipping, so $59 to get that. So $59 is a lot more palatable, for sure, but you're also getting less of the deluxeifications. And this is where FOMO is going to hit you, because what is the difference between let's find the stretch goals over here. I'm trying to find those. The stretch goals are not listed anywhere I can find them. They're definitely here somewhere. But here we go. Stretch goals. Okay, so the reason I cover the stretch goals is because now is a good time to talk about what is the difference between the limited premium edition and retail, because that's a very relevant question. Great. Here's the $49 option, which will be $59 in terms of once you factor in shipping. Miniature Market already accidentally posted the retail edition is available for $37, so which is a standard price you'd expect. $49 MSRP. Available for $39, for $37 or so dollars. That is a standard option that's very in line with the kind of game you're talking about here. So you're paying $59 instead of $37, an extra $22 to get what? What are you paying an extra $22 to get? And the answer is a firm, we're not 100% clear. So Forbidden Games they addressed this in the comments, but they said we probably will be bringing it to retail. We generally have in the past. At the same time, there's no guarantee, but it is listed on Miniature Market, so take that into account. And it was listed on Miniature Market, so take that into account. And in terms of what's the differences, they didn't comment on everything, because the stretch goals we have so far is we have 20 achievement tiles, which these are achievements that will mix up your gameplay by giving you different things to go for. You'll get an extra 10 points if you're the first person to get 5 wizards. And those things will also add variability to the game along with the spells, and I think that's important. They'll have larger tarot-sized cards in terms of, you'll have these larger cards that you can play with that will be more premium, bigger, whatever, and obviously this based on the board will match accordingly. You have 4 summoning circles, 5 player screens to hide the mana and the gold. I'll note, again, not giving any reviews stuff yet, but I'll note that I played it once with the mana and gold revealed and once with it hidden, specifically to mix it up, because I believe Rado commented on the fact that they played with it revealed and they didn't realize it was supposed to be hidden. And so for my second game, I gave that a shot, and I think I prefer it that way. We'll get into that another time. And then finally, they have a score pad, and then they have anti-stake art for all the tower cards. They upgraded that. A giant wood first player marker, modular insert with reagent and coin trays, and that's what we have so far. But keep in mind, there are still 22 days left to go, which means more time to find out what else they're going to add. And it's worth noting that this is already trending towards being their largest Kickstarter to date, so possibly more stuff. We'll see how that plays out. What are you getting in deluxe versus retail? Well, I have guesses and I have confirmed things. So I'm guessing that the 20 achievement tiles will be available in retail. I think this is a core change to the gameplay. This is literally a gameplay change. That's not like some random extra whatever. It'll probably be printed on the board. I imagine this will be in the retail edition, and I want it. I think that's a great way to play. I would never want to play without these. I like modular achievements. It mixes up the game. The larger cards, that will almost certainly not be in retail. The 4 summoning circles, no idea. I have no idea whether they will or won't. I would guess not, but I don't know. The 5-player screens, those are probably going to be in retail. Almost certainly. Again, it's a gameplay aspect, and this is not a company that hides gameplay, at least historically at least. They do not hide gameplay behind, deluxeified editions or whatnot. The score pad probably will be in retail. Less guaranteed, but again, I imagine it would. Why wouldn't it? The anti-stake art for all tower cards, unless they're printing 2 different versions of the art, this will probably be in the retail edition. The giant wooden first player marker, probably not. Probably will only be available in the premium edition. The modular insert with reagent and coin trays, a little harder on this one. I'm not sure at all, but I think this is probably premium only. We don't have a confirmed answer from Forbidden Games as to what will or won't be in retail, and that does affect what you are evaluating when you say, hey, I'm paying an extra $22 to get this game, to back this game, to support this game, compared to what I can do for retail, assuming you buy it with free shipping at Miniature Market or wherever you go. And so is it worth $22 extra? And that is a decision you will have to make for yourself because of, what are the extras you're getting here. Maybe push for a confirmed answer before backing. It might be reasonable because $20 is a lot of money if the only thing extra you're getting is larger tarot-sized cards, and I believe that's the only thing they have officially confirmed. Versus if you're also getting these summoning circles, versus if you're also getting the giant wooden first player marker and the modular insert with reagent and coin trays, suddenly $22 is a lot more palatable. And so that is something you'll have to take into account. So in terms of the should you back it, should you not, and then premium edition, hard to say. It's hard to know what the answer is without knowing what the actual differences are. For myself, if I was currently looking at those 2 options, I would go retail. Because while I like this game, with some reservations which we'll address, but while I overall like this game and plan on adding it to my collection, I don't care enough about the larger cards to pay an extra $22 for it. I am perfectly fine with small cards. I've never cared past that. And am I willing to gamble on these other things? And I just don't know. That's the retail versus premium. And I will note, as an additional note here, there was a bit of a fiasco with Raccoon Tycoon where they sold the premium edition on Kickstarter, and then that premium edition was the first thing that made its way to the various stores. When you first bought on Amazon, when you first bought on Cool Stuff Inc. or wherever, you were getting Raccoon Tycoon Premium Edition, even though you were buying it retail. Now, that was changed with later printings, but that definitely was something to take into account for the first backers or the first whoever, and that hopefully won't be the case here, but, hopefully it won't be the case here. So with that out of the way, what about the Premium Edition? For the Premium Edition, it's an extra $40 for a whole lot of deluxeification. And my answer there is, I think it really isn't so much a question. Well, let's cover 2 things. There's personal preference, and then there's the value proposition. From a personal preference stance, if you like Raccoon Tycoon, if you were just hoping for something a little bit deeper than Raccoon Tycoon, and I haven't played Raccoon Tycoon, but if you like Raccoon Tycoon, I believe you're getting a game that builds off that system and is better. If you want that game and you want the deluxeified version of that game, you have to make your own determination as to whether all those extras are worth that price point. It's a lot of money. $99 for a single game without expansions, and it's basically just a Euro game, is a lot of money. But for all the various deluxeifications you're getting, that just might be worth it, and that's a determination you'll have to make for yourself. As far as whether it's worth it on the general market, I don't know, because if you look at Raccoon Tycoon is the closest example, but if you look at Raccoon Tycoon, and you look at their previous pledges and the previous aspect there, and everything they covered there, it generally seems to have held its value on the secondary market, but with not a ton of data to support that. If you look at used sales, wherever they are, if you look at the used sales on BoardGameGeek, on eBay, the actual sales, when the game is listed as being a premium edition, it generally seems that people were able to get their money back, sometimes without the shipping, sometimes with. You're certainly not making a ton of money, but you might be able to get your money back and or just lose on the shipping. In terms of a fully deluxeified premium edition at the $99 price point, there's no real data to find that out, and your closest comparison is going to be TMG and their deluxeified games, which ultimately those tend to come down to how well the game is rated. The deluxeified games that are more well rated hold their value more, not so surprisingly. The ones that are less well rated usually take a little bit of a hit on. So it does come down to how the general market perceives this game. What do people want? What are they willing to pay for? I think it's a safe back. I don't think it's, again, to be clear, I don't think it's one you're going to be making money on. I don't think it's one where you're going to be losing a ton of money on. I think it's one that you might get, you'll play it, you'll find out at $99 for yourself, you'll see if it's for you, and if you don't like it, I think you'll be able to get back what you paid for it, possibly losing on shipping. That's usually, I find that's often the straw when it comes to reselling a game. Sometimes people are only willing to pay what you paid, not necessarily counting the shipping, because they're also paying shipping. If you sell it for $89 to someone else, they already have to pay the shipping, so not necessarily reimbursing yours. So you can often get your money back for someone who wants the game, who likes the game, and I think that's pretty safe. Whether you'll lose in the shipping or not, that does come down to the aftermarket availability and just how well this game is. As far as whether I'm backing it at $99, I don't know yet. I just don't know yet, because as of right now, this is a game that I like. I plan on adding it to my collection, but I have enough reservations. Again, to be clear, not a huge amount of reservations. This is a game I like. I do enjoy it. Any game I add to my collection is already, after 2 plays already, is already doing well. But there's a big difference between $99 and $37. That's a 2-game difference. There are 2 games, any 2 other basic retail games you can get for that price difference. And I don't know if this is the kind of game that's going to see enough play in my collection to justify that gap. Hopefully I'll know more by the time I post my review. Hopefully I'll know more by the time the campaign is over. But I am definitely interested. Interested enough, by the way, that I currently have an active $99 pledge on the campaign with a reminder set to figure out what to do. Or in other words, I am more worried about potentially losing out and forgetting than I am worried about forgetting and not backing it. So that should tell you something already. I am definitely very much on the fence. Past that, that's been, Lizard Wizard. Should you back it? Should you not? I feel there was one other thing I wanted to cover. Oh, yes, I did. I knew there's one other thing I wanted to cover, which is kudos to Forbidden Games. One of the things they did, and I love when campaigns do this, is they did give a $10 credit to prior backers. They gave that in there to whoever was a prior backer of their last campaign. I don't know if it's all campaigns or just their last campaign, but they gave a $10 credit of, hey, thank you so much for, helping support the company. Here's $10 to go spend on Lizard Wizard. I love it when companies reward previous backers. There are always these conversations about why you should or shouldn't back, including stuff I do with all these videos. And in fact, take that into account when you back this game, or if you back this game, because if they do something similar in the future, and there are no guarantees they will, but if they do something similar in the future, that's $10 off your next Lizard Wizard purchase. And if they keep that cycle going, then you're basically getting another $10 off, which really pushes this into a much higher degree of being appealing. So take that into account when you back as well. Again, understanding there's no guarantees of what they'll do in the future, but I do appreciate that gesture in terms of thank you for helping support the company, thank you for being a part of it, and all that. Lastly, there was one other thing I want to cover, which is they have over here, they do have options, just for general awareness, they have these potential options to buy various games over here, the Railroad Rivals, Raccoon Tycoon. They have all these potential options to add on to to whatever you back to get additional stuff. So if you were looking for Raccoon Tycoon with the Fat Cat expansion or whatever, if you're looking for Railroad Rivals or Pirates or whatever, this is your opportunity to get them do your own price comparisons. I didn't on these, just to be clear. I didn't look into these at all, so that is a factor. But that's basically it. That is this That's this video about Lizard Wizard. I am Alex from BoardGameCo. As usual, if you enjoyed this video, if you want to see more content, if you want to find out when I post that review, which again will be later this week or early next week, then subscribe down below, ring the bell for notifications, and comment. Are you backing this? Are you not? Why are you not backing this game? Do you own Raccoon Tycoon? Are you worried about the fact that you just have to upgrade the previous game and it's basically the same, but really it's not? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. I don't really know because I haven't played Raccoon Tycoon. I did enjoy Lizard Wizard. What I do next, we'll find out soon. Until next time, have a good one.